That was
Good
2 months
morning,
ago.
Southern Middle Tennessee. I'm Clayton Harris filling in for Delk Kennedy this
Yeah, that was a couple
morning.
months ago.
And you have joined Three Dudes with a View. And we are joined, as always, by dude number 2, Mr. Ron Hart. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning.
And always with dude number 1, Mr. Jim York. Good morning, Mr. York.
Good morning, Clayton. Good morning, everybody.
And host of the Debbie Matthews Show, Debbie Matthews.
Clayton, it's so good to see you. I'm glad to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. And also with us this morning, current county commissioner and candidate for Columbia City Mayor, Eric Prevetti. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
And we could be joined by Delk Kennedy
Yes.
as his flight has been delayed this morning. But if he joins us, he will. If not, we'll be okay.
He's going to Panama City,
I believe that is correct. He's going somewhere down the Gulf Coast.
Redneck Riviera. Yes.
It's beautiful water down there.
It
man.
is the best. Don't tell anybody or they'll ruin
is.
it.
I mean, it's it's great.
I know. I had clients from California, and I told them, I said, you need to go to the beach. They were like, oh, it's like, no, you need to go to the beach. And they were like, they got back and they said, this is the most beautiful water we've ever seen.
And it is.
Yeah,
It
is.
really is.
You know, yeah.
Eric, you're here with us this morning, and obviously yesterday, my gosh, we had a packed house.
It was a great show, though.
It was a good show.
And
Very, very
yeah.
local show.
Yeah.
What you got on your mind?
Well, it's actually just some more of the same local stuff. I was hoping, I've been working with Joanne McClellan, the county historian. Mayor Butt put together, and Joanne put together a 250th anniversary committee of America's birthday, the semi-cinquentennial.
It's a lot. to say.
Semi-quincentennial, which means half of 500.
Correct.
So anyhow, we did a float for the Mule Day Parade, and we've got a lot going on all year long. We're going to be doing some speakers that come talk about Murray County and the history of that. The Historical Society, the third Sunday of next month, we'll be having a talk about the 1976 jail fire at the archives where it happened. So we'd like to invite people to that. But we're putting together a quilting contest where you can submit a 12 by 12 square. The details are on Facebook. I had hoped to talk about that with her yesterday, but those are just some of the things that are going on around there. Also, I serve on the board of the Athenaeum Rectory, the Murray County APTA, which stands for the Association for the Preservation of Tennessee Antiquities. So if you ever see an old house that's got an APTA sign on it, that's what the APTA
right.
So
means.
the APTA is back in force now?
Well, we've always been the force.
Well, I
We never
heard that they
left.
weren't doing things
No,
anymore.
No, we've always been.
Well,
the
I need
force.
a sign for my house.
Well, great.
Please.
We'll sell it to you.
I've been trying to get one. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we've got them. We've actually
Okay.
got them in stock. But what I was here to talk about was we're going to have every year that's within an election year, we have a white bean supper. That's going to be our annual meeting, and it's going to be Saturday, June the 6th, and it'll be at the Athenaeum.
Are you
And,
having cornbred with that?
Yes, ma'am. We'll have
Okay.
some corn. I was talking to my wife
Okay.
this morning. I
Okay.
said, everybody's going to be making beans. I said, we need to turn out some cornbread. And
Yep.
and we were talking about this. And I said, that'll pretty much be like cafeteria style.
Yeah,
You just
that's
slice
right.
it out and go. But you got to have the
Just have a
cornbread with
bowl
the
of
beans.
gas X at the end of the table.
There you
and
go.
you'll be good.
Well, we'll sell those after. We'll
That's a
auction
good-
those off.
yes.
We'll have an auction, and we invite all the candidates to come out. And this is a fundraiser for the house. The Athenaeum is behind the post office, in front of the Board of Education building, and it's painted a nice, light brown tan colored now, historical color. But it costs a lot of money to keep those houses up, and being privately held. This is our fundraiser for the year, so we like to invite all the candidates out. We're sending messages to the gubernatorial candidates and the Congress and the mayoral and the commissioners and city mayor, all that. So we just want to invite people to come out Saturday, June the 6th, about 5:30. Bring some money for live auction items and fellowship, and have a good time with it.
Well, our friend Adam Southern be there.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you.
Well, he's on the board as well.
That's
so
what I
yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the board as well. Yeah, he's running for county commissioner in the 9th district.
In my district, yes, as independent.
Yeah.
And,
Has
I know-
he ever been a commissioner before?
No.
You think he'd be a
Well,
had
he
been a
did. He
commissioner?
ran before one time
for
years
school
ago.
board, maybe.
No, he ran for commissioner
commissioner?
one time
Okay.
and didn't get it. So he's looking to get back into the game with that.
I like
so.
his chances now. Adam's great. He graduated a year after me, but he's written books about the history of Culleoka, and was the county librarian for several years before he took his current position.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we look forward to having everybody come to that, and those were the main things. We were going to talk about, if you want to get into commission business, we had our monthly commission meeting. We're getting ready to go into our budget process. We got a lot of special called meetings coming up to go through the budget process. That's pretty much that.
Adam writes from a place of love, and once he serves on the commission, it ain't gonna be as much love oozing out of him. Isn't that right? I mean, there is love, but man, welcome to the jungle, Adam. If you win, good luck.
Well, I've got a countdown, 132 days until my term's up. So it's been an honor to serve, and it's good luck to everybody else that's running.
Well, fellas, ladies, where do we want to go this morning?
Well, the devastating loss in what happened in Virginia is where my mind is. How about y'all?
Well, I mean,
and that's Jeff. Good morning.
People
You
spoke.
joined us.
People spoke.
No, they
Baby.
didn't.
it's absolutely
Well, who
the people's
voted if
vote.
they didn't speak?
It's 46-54, Republican and Democrat. So and they're getting like 10-1 House seats. So that's not democracy, Mr. York. You know that.
They haven't changed anything yet. They voted to
So what's
change.
different? Okay, the question. So my issue with all of it is gerrymandering is part of the deal. We all get it. It just is. And we can all be honest about the legality of it. It's been challenged at the Supreme Court. We all know what it is. But what pisses me off is the idea that they go out, Gavin Newsom starting it after Abbott. Texas, who got 2.5 million more people in,
Right.
their demographics shifted, and they don't have any rules about stopping them from mid-cycle redistricting. They were like, yeah, we got about 2.5 million people since the last time we took a look. Let's take a look. Totally fine. But for Gavin Newsom to come out and then say they are undermining democracy, now help us do the same.
Who started it? Who started it, Jeff?
No, it's not about
No,
that.
who started this crap? Who started it?
So,
The
Jim,
concept of gerrymander and the
Trump
salamander looking.
started it. Trump
No.
called for more seats in the House.
Yes,
He
Trump
called for more seats.
revolutionary-
He
no, just-
started it, and Texas
no, he's
jumped
an
on it,
absolute-
and then the
he's an
rock
absolute
started
revolutionary.
rolling.
so
If your state grows, Mr. York, because all the people fleeing California and the high Democrat tax states, so if your state grows 2.5 million people, there needs to be. It's logical that you'd have redistricting. But you
It's
take
not-
Virginia,
it's an off
Virginia
year,
has
Ron.
not grown, and they're
It's
just
part of
trying
their
to.
law. That's what you're missing. All of this is just a giant part of you're missing. Then you also say who started it? Trump started it. No, gerrymandering. The reason we have that word is it goes back to the salamander-shaped district.
We ain't going back to no salamander shape. We're talking Trump started to call for more seats. That's what I'm talking about.
But Jim, so maybe we should have done this. Hey, if California loses 250,000 people and it's mid-cycle, instead of it being 10 years, maybe we need to look at population shifts every 5 years for redistricting purposes, because
Or at least
Texas
be emotionally honest.
Yes, but-
intellectually honest about
yeah,
it and
'cause
say
Texas-
they did it. It's bad, but we're going to
But
do it too.
has
because
Virginia
we can.
gained? Has Virginia really gained any population? No, not at all. If anything, they've lost some. So
Spanberger lied to the people when she got elected. When she ran as a moderate, not
Yeah.
to say she was against gerrymandering.
Yeah.
She lied to the people. Look, you can in any state that's 51-49, you can get. You shouldn't be able to get like 10-1 to one side just because you're 51%. That's not. You talk about. You whine about threat to democracy, whatever that is. That is a threat to democracy when you get 51-49 state. And you get the legislature to vote 51-49 to change it to all Democrat seats.
Yeah.
That's not the way it's supposed to be.
that
They haven't been. That's got to go through the courts. It hadn't been changed yet. The vote was just like California did. They voted to redraw the maps, and it's got to be
that's
approved.
not the question, though. What I'm upset about, or at least not even upset, it's just baffled by the hypocrisy of saying in one sentence that what Texas is trying to do is an undermining.
Oops.
Nope.
Yeah, it's saying Texas is trying to undermine democracy, and hey, let's do it here in California. But California should be losing seats. They should have lost seats with 250,000 people, and they were still maintaining their seat based on a population from 5 years ago, which is not representationally correct anyway. But our thing is right now, if I were a Virginian, I'd be saying I have no representation, therefore I am not doing any taxation. I
Still
am
got
out.
to go through the courts, Debbie.
I
It still has
understand
to be
that,
approved
Jim.
by the
I
courts.
understand that, but
They only voted to change the maps, and the courts have to approve them.
and they're
Now,
not,
with
hopefully
your,
they won't.
okay, but that's again, the point is something different. You're saying Trump started it. That's first off intellectually and factually incorrect. That's
It's
what you want
not
to talk about.
incorrect.
That's what you want to talk about.
It's not
From
incorrect.
why we're having
Third
a
grader.
conversation is, in your opinion, because Trump said he wanted more seats. Every single president in history has wanted more seats. It's not revolutionary. Gerrymandering, he didn't invent it. You call him dumb all the time, and then he invented a way to circumvent
There's a
the
guy up in
government.
Massachusetts
Well,
named
that's why
Jerry.
Texas changed their city.
No, because they have a significantly
Abbott
more
was
rational
responding
reason.
and licking boots for Trump.
No,
He went
because
on
they
and
got
changed it in
2.5
mid-cycle.
So
2.5 million people came in there since the last time they looked at their districts. That is a rational reason to take another gander. Virginia did it because they prescribed the motivation, which is completely fair, by the way, that what Texas was doing was politically motivated. Fine. All of it. Fine. Legal. Not the point. Not even close to the point. The point is that you're going out and saying what Texas is doing is stealing people's votes. It is disenfranchising them. It is terrible. It cannot happen, except you're going to need to let me do it just real quick. Just real quick, we're gonna have to disenfranchise a lot of people, just real quick, and then it's fine. It's throwing the moral grenade out and then saying the same thing for yourself in the same speech is insane.
It's not
Well,
insane.
well,
Trump called for adding seats to the House so he could continue to maintain power. Texas jumped on it and changed it.
There's nothing wrong with
California
any of
said,
those
"Oh, if they gonna play that game during mid-cycle, we gonna do it too. We gonna send it to the people. The people of California voted. California went on to change the
doesn't
maps.
matter. Disenfranchisement. and voting
Virginia
rights
said,
doesn't matter,
okay,
clearly,
if
'cause that was the
California
reason it was a
did
problem in
it,
Texas.
we gonna do it too." So California took it to the people voted, and now they have an opportunity to change their maps. That's the
Jim,
scenario.
Jim, are you going to be okay when the people of Virginia say we're walking and we're going to join West Virginia and leave the Virginia Commonwealth over this? Because that's
I don't
probably
care what they do in
if they-
Virginia.
if they
You know,
vote-
I
if
live
they
in
vote-
Tennessee.
Because, well,
So what if Tennessee, which is 70% legislators or Republicans, decided to make them all, except for maybe give Memphis one seat, and let it be 12-1 rather than whatever it is right now, 8-3. So
That's
okay
what
with
it
that?
is.
You're okay
It's
with
12-1 right now, 11-1 or whatever, 9-1.
well, Tennessee
9-1,
also got
whatever
a
the
huge
number-
influx
What
of
if they go
population.
take Steve Cohen's seat out of Memphis then? You can put Germantown in there and Covington up there and make sure Steve. Would you be okay with that?
Well, if they draw the maps and pass it, Ron, they have the right to do it just like Texas
Okay,
did.
so you're
But
okay
what
with
if
that?
we
then?
said
I'm not
what
okay
if they
with
did
it, but I'm saying Texas did it too.
Okay, so let's flip the timeline just a little bit here. And I came to you on this show to everybody here and said, Virginia did this first. Let's just the motivation of who did it whenever doesn't really matter for the sake of this argument. Virginia did it first, and I said that is stealing the vote of people. That is horrible. That is terrible. And then I stood on this hill about voting rights and why it was so corrupt. I know it's legal, but it's corrupt. And then when Tennessee did it, but it favored the right, I was like, I mean, that's the game, baby. That's the game. It's a disingenuous argument from when I was upset someone else did it. So either just be honest and say that's the game, because it is the game, and that's okay. But stop lying about the reason why Texas doing it was bad.
And the other game is going to be they're trying to get Carville said to get Puerto Rico and Washington D.C. and stack the court. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That shows you how devious
And to
and how
reopen the
quickly-
border. That's
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
that's just-
when you open a can of worms, expect them to crawl on the floor, buddies. That's all I can say.
You're whining about Texas. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are losing population in states that you control, and the cities you control, like Memphis, you name it, St. Louis, you're ruining those cities. So, I mean, people don't like the way you govern, Mr. York.
Worms
And
are
they're
running
running
a lot
from
of
you.
They don't
can.
like the way you all are governing right now. Ask
Not true,
Tucker
buddy.
Carlson. Ask
People
your
go in the
buddy
city.
Tucker
Look at
Carlson.
look at Tennessee.
Do
Look
you
at
agree
cities
with
that are-
Tucker Carlson? Do you agree with him?
No,
Have you even
About
listened
what?
to
Depends
Tucker
on
what
the subject,
Wheatley?
sure. I'm
specifically?
not
About
like
what
you. I
he's-
don't blindly agree to everything my party says. I'm not like you. So tell me
About
the
what he
subject.
just said. He's being tormented by agreeing with Trump and supporting Trump all these
Okay,
years.
well, maybe so. That's his opinion. That's spin on the issue, right? His
That's
son
your
Buckley-
best buddy. That's your bosom buddy. You eat
Hey.
up everything he said in the
Hey.
papers.
Right.
Tucker
That's a lie,
Carlson.
Mr.
Tucker
York. You
Carlson.
lie on the
Time for a
radio show
break,
all the
I
time.
think.
You become
Well,
just a
Hear
known
music.
liar. I
We're-
don't agree with everything anybody says.
We're up against a break. We'll be back right after this.
Buckley left J.D. Vance's office, his son.
And welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Three Dudes with a View. I'm Clayton Harris, filling in for Delk Kennedy. And we are joined, as always, by dude number 2, Mr. Ron Hart. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
Also joined by dude number 1, Mr. Jim York. Good morning, Mr. York.
Good morning, Clayton. Good morning, everybody.
Also joined this morning by the host of the Debbie Matthews Show, Debbie Matthews.
Good morning, everybody.
And also with us, the host of In the Middle of It with Jeb Hart, Jeb Hart.
Morning, y'all.
And also with us this morning, current county commissioner and candidate for city mayor of Columbia, Eric Pervetti. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. I forgot to tell you something else, if I may.
Okay.
All right. The courthouse renovations, the 1906 courthouse, 120-year-old building, our grandest building in the county. We're in the middle of the renovation project.
Yeah.
Demolition is pretty much finished. We're looking at a completion date probably around late January, February of 2027. One of the things we're doing is that, I've talked about it before, is that a part of that is going to be a county museum. And so, it costs money to run museums and stuff. And we're still looking at the options on how it's going to be operated and run. But one of the things proposed that we're going to look at doing is a brick paver program. Kind of like you see on the sidewalks here in Columbia and at different locations. So I'm fixing to go to a meeting at the courthouse to meet with the architect. But we'll be having bricks where you can have an honor somebody, a name engraved. It'll be open to anybody, as long as there's space, to put bricks. So that's one of the things we're looking at doing. And then the funds raised from that will help operate the museum. So,
that's neat.
Yeah,
Very
neat.
neat.
That's one of the things we're looking at doing. So
I love it.
Keep staying. Keep up with that. Look for that. And the Visitors Bureau is where we'll be handling the brick sales out of. So you'll have an application, and then of course it'll be approved. Whatever you want to put on the brick. Make sure there's nothing strange.
Okay.
But you can honor past family members. We're looking at honoring judges that have passed, attorneys and commissioners and things like that. But it'll be open to anybody that wants to do that. So
I hope so.
As long as there's space.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
You should sell bricks to have to throw. You need to. You'd really make some money there. Okay. All right. Here's my big thing about, I call her Madam Mao, Abigail Spanberger, is now, from me, if I say Madam Mao, that's what I'm talking about. But they have changed the law in Virginia now that they are not going to designate their electoral votes until the popular vote is completely in, and then the votes will go with the popular vote. So, guys, that is a huge game changer in every way. So, in addition
They
to
do that in several states, don't they, Debbie?
I don't think so. I think your electoral votes has to represent what your state vote was.
What's that system they got where votes, if you first and second, they only have first and second place winners? If you
That's
don't-
That's a jungle
primary.
primary. That's what California does. That's a different
And they need to
conversation.
get if they got rid of that, California would be a more moderate state, because it's really a Republican state if you look at it and you get rid of your illegals. Because if you have a jungle ballot, that means the top two are Democrats. The
Debbie,
runoff's always
illegals are not voting. Illegals are not voting in
Yeah,
elections.
they go into your number though, Mr. Short. Do you understand that? So you
I understand everybody's Constitution says everybody should be represented.
So, but
Everybody
so
should
if you
be counted.
if you understand,
everybody that's in this country should be counted.
Let's give it a moment here. So you're understanding the Constitution says that everybody here gets to be counted. I understand the argument that's more nuanced. We can have that. Fine. But the mere fact that illegals are there, they are legally counted by that logic within the sentence, which does help with representation and their ability to be represented. So their sheer presence by itself affects the overall voting power of the place.
When they put $1 trillion into the economy, shouldn't they be represented somehow? Other
They
than
should
voting?
probably not be functionally
Other than
bankrupt.
voting? When they're building and building bridges and buildings, shouldn't they be counted?
Well, what about
It's
trains? They forgot about trains.
It's so ironic to me you're talking about shouldn't somebody be represented when 90% of the Republicans in Virginia have just been wiped out on any representation at all.
Well,
Okay?
that was
How
a vote,
ironic.
wasn't it?
You're okay
That
to
was
make sure the
Didn't
legal is
people vote?
represented, but not the tax-paying Republicans of Virginia. That's where
Just
we
like
are.
we have to stomach Trump because the majority of the people voted for him, so we got to stomach him. So Virginia's going to have to stomach what the Democrats are doing. That's the way it is. By the way, Debbie, you know we've spent $50 billion on the war, and Trump's asking for 1.5 trillion. We don't have health care. We don't have SNAP.
That's not for the
well,
war. Be honest about what you're saying.
The well lines are getting longer and longer in Murray County. What do you what do you think the solution ought to be for that?
That's not the truth, Mr. Joe. He's asking for 1.5 trillion for the defense budget. So don't
Exactly.
say he's asking for war in Iran.
I didn't say the war. I say 50 billion's already been spent on the war.
Okay, this is where it gets absolutely infuriating, and for myself and for most listeners as a whole. You said that he spent $50 billion on the war and is asking for more. Fair conversation to have. Then you listed other things within the giant kaleidoscope of governmental policy or things that they have an effect on that are related but incredibly tangentially and as part of the whole structure of government, and then say, what are you going to do about that by bringing one other thing in? If we have the conversation or don't, talk about the thing or don't, try and fix the problem or don't. I can complain about a bunch of stuff. It's not going to help us get anywhere.
Well, I know y'all, you know,
wait,
Debbie always complain about the cost of stuff.
This was addressed to me. I and most conservatives in this country are not for this war. We did not vote for this. I also did not vote for the FISA thing to be renewed, which is about to be renewed again. Okay? The Patriot Act, the FISA warrants, all of that. The American people have absolutely... I'm not for this war, Jim. I'm not for this war. Most conservatives are not. We did not want this. And now what's today, 58? When it's technically a conflict, it's not categorized as a war until 60 days. So
Brandon, baby, that's the aioli of war.
Yeah. So I am right now praying for our troops. I'm praying that this thing gets done. But the international scope of what's happening fuel-wise and energy-wise is being kept from us because this is not going for other people with this oil crisis. It's not going to go well unless he gets this ended quickly. And I hope he does. But I am not pro this war. Okay? I am America first. I want our money spent here. I want illegals kept out. I want our borders secure. I want our streets secure. I want our taxation down. I want Doge back to find the corruption and the mess. Okay? I want our election
Well, they got
secure.
to look in the White House for that, Debbie. The corruption's in the White House.
They're allowed to take a peek. I mean, I understand the general principle and the idea of getting it over quick should be part of the deal. But if you want to look at what the potential long-term implications of it are, the reframing of the trade routes and the choke points and the restructuring of who's in charge that will long-term have global stability.
I get it.
The longer it goes, not longer like years and years and years or anything like that, but there's a tight window where the timeline for Iran is so consolidated that regardless of who's in charge or what the decisions are, the time is outside of their control.
I understand.
And it's on a ticking clock.
I understand.
And
but if you had been asked,
if
Ron had been asked, if Clayton had been asked, if Aaron had been asked, if I had been asked 2 weeks before a war started, do you want a conflict with Iran? We'd have all said no. But we didn't have a choice. As a blanket statement, which
nobody wants. But see, I think that this is the problem. This is the problem that we always have. And it gets said, Kamala Harris gave some speeches like we got into a war that nobody wants. Nobody wants a war, period. Sometimes they are required. Sometimes you're attacked. Sometimes they're wildly unnecessary. Iraq, like they happen. Nobody ever wants them. Never frame it.
So why were we attacked?
Let me put it this way: if Hillary Clinton had been elected, we would have been in a war with Iran. If Kamala Harris had been elected, she would have had us in a war with Iran. We elected a guy that was not going to get us into a war with Iran. We elected a guy that was not going to do any foreign wars, and now all of a sudden we're in a foreign war. And it's obvious to me that that the world organizations or whatever are in control of us. We have no control anymore. So we elected the guy to stay out of it, but we're in it.
Control. But
Iran's engaged in an asymmetrical counterattack right now. Asymmetrical counterattack. Look that up.
I understand exactly what an asymmetrical counterattack is. It's not even a counterattack. It's a general strategy across the totality of a war. Stating that they're doing that was always their plan. They're outmatched and outgunned. That's the only thing that they've ever had. That's not shocking
They're
to
not
anybody
going
who
to
knows
beat us
anything
in a
about what this
kinetic
was ever going
war.
to be.
They're not going to beat us in a kinetic war. But this is a civilization that has been here since the 4th century. The Persians are not going anywhere, which means they're going to dig down, they're going to hold tight, and all they have to do is cause financial ruin worldwide to win the war.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
this is where
Nope.
we are. This
Wait
is
a
where we
minute. Nope.
are.
That's the truest thing you've ever said,
Did I
Debbie.
just hear-
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Did I just
Well,
hear those two agree on
Financial ruin worldwide. Let's look about 2 years now.
Check
Let's
the
see if
tape.
it's financial ruin worldwide.
I don't want it to be-
I'll take the under.
Okay,
Let's check the
that's
tape.
fine. That's all I'm saying is all they have to do is hold things up.
So you
Now,
think this war is
I
gonna cause
think-
financial
I actually
ruin
think-
worldwide?
I actually think Trump should have done the blockade first before bombing anything. This is
Can't
going
do
to
the
be the
blockade.
most.
Can't do the blockade if they have their full force of
Okay,
their
I
ability to
understand.
retaliate.
I
Blockade when you
understand, but
got
this
drones
is
attacking
what's
them.
going to sort of get the Iranians to the table. But the Iranians are going to sign a sheet of paper. Oh, we're never going to get nuclear weapons. Then they're going to go into a cave and they're going to start this crap all over again because they're a sovereign nation and they want whatever. I'm just
We'll light 'em
saying
up.
how much. Okay, we're going to keep blowing them up forever and ever and ever. So that's
No, no,
For the
you gotta
life
watch-
of me,
you gotta
Ron,
watch
I
two
can't
places right now.
understand why you don't understand a common man that's got to spend $5 a gallon or $4 a gallon for gas
Under Biden.
and
There's
drives
that
to
logic that we were
Nashville
pushing
every
for.
day.
Where's that
Every
logic
day.
that we're pushing for
When
green
Biden was
fuel
president,
or-
you didn't care about that when Biden
We're not
was
talking
president.
about Biden. We're
Yeah,
talking about
okay.
today.
I just
No,
brought it
you're
up.
not-
We'll talk about wherever I want
We're
to talk
talking about today.
See,
No,
one
but you're
thing,
not
one thing is clear
understanding-
from this conversation, Mr. York.
If you get a
Debbie-
little money in your pocket, then you think everybody's
Okay.
okay. Everybody's
Okay.
not okay.
No,
you know,
you're not. No one ever-
everybody's not
9%
rich.
Debbie,
Everybody's
one
not
thing- one thing
rich.
okay, can you be quiet for 1 second? One thing about the Republicans that I do like is we will have debates within the party. You say whatever the Democrats say, Mr. You've never broken ranks to anything the Democrats say.
You don't know what I've broken ranks
I've been
because
on-
I
I've been on the
represent
show with you a long
myself. I
time.
don't represent
We talk-
Democrats.
Yeah,
I
you do.
represent
You've
myself.
never name a time you've broken rank with a Democrat dogma. Name one thing.
I don't have to name anything.
You don't have to name
I
anything.
listen at
The answer is you're
Democrats. I
dumb, you
listen
don't
at
know. You
Republicans.
just do whatever
I
you're told.
represent myself.
You're
All of
like
this
a
is
puppet
recorded.
of the
79
party.
years of
You're a
experience on this
you're-
earth,
yeah,
Ron's
you're a
heart.
puppet.
79 years on
You
this
can't-
earth.
You cannot name a single time you've broken rank with the Democrats, yet we're having a debate right now within the Republican Party, which I like, why we should be at war. You guys never do that. You are lockstep lemmings.
Well, why
You're
didn't you have
mindless.
the debate
You're
before the
mindless.
war?
You're lemmings. You do what you're told. You should be embarrassed.
All
Why
right,
wasn't
everybody-
the debate had
Debbie's
before
having a
the
genuine
war?
debate.
For 47
Debbie's having a
years
genuine
as to
debate.
whether
That's
or
his
not
jab
this should
about
have been
whether
a
we should
thing.
be in this war. You guys
This
never
is an
have
ongoing debate
existential
for
debates.
47 years.
Well,
They
let
did
me
a
say-
back-
let me say-
should
let
have
me
been
say-
before
let me
the war started.
Let me say this. We are now in it, and I want to win it. But I don't know what that winning looks like.
Right. And
Okay?
we'll say
Exactly.
we'll have the debate whether we should have been in the war or not. Debbie's had within the party. We were willing to have debates and talk about things. You guys are not.
All right, we're up against our last break.
You're
We'll
just
take
against
it and be
everything.
back. Right
I'm
to
happy
this.
to explain what winning looks like upon our return.
When
And welcome back to Three Dudes with a View, a Wednesday edition. Clayton Harris filling in for Del Kennedy this morning. And we are joined, as always, by dude number 2, Mr. Ron Hart. Good morning, Ron.
Morning.
Also joined by dude number 1, Mr. Jim York. Good morning, Mr. York.
Good morning, Clayton. Good morning, everybody.
Also joined by the host of the Debbie Matthews Show, Debbie Matthews.
Good morning. Good morning.
And also joining us, the host of In the Middle of It with Jeb Hart. Jeb Hart. Good morning, Jeb.
Morning.
All right. So
It's really funny because if you're Republican and you say that I've got to pause, I've got some questions about the war. I mean, I get emails of how dare I have an opinion.
I think it's a
crazy.
completely fair question. And it should be discussed because not everything in it's going to be perfect. But before we went to close, you did ask, I don't even know what winning looks like. And I know on the show it normally isn't the hear it out situation, but it is kind of important to lay it out because there's a ton of things that are happening about this that are genuinely underreported that play into a overall system of it all. Because who here, Mr. York, let me inquire, are you familiar with what happened in the Strait of Malacca in the past couple of weeks?
Nope.
Okay, so we signed a defense agreement with Indonesia, and the Strait of Malacca is where basically almost 100% of China's oil goes through. It's between Indonesia and Malaysia.
Yeah.
This entire thing, what winning looks like, is both them not having a bomb. That's really important. But it is what's already happened is a restructuring of the Middle East. The choke points have changed who has control over them, both the one in Malacca, this one, as well as the one that starts with a B that I can't pronounce right and don't want to say on the radio that's in the Red Sea. But all of those have changed. The actual motivation behind the other Arabic countries in the Arabian Sea, pushed by and really spearheaded by Saudi Arabia, who's still supporting us. We had a helicopter land there the other day. It's changing the way that structure works, but also because China now has to pay the market rate instead of having gray market ships, it helps to stabilize the global oil economy, which, as we note by the fact that only almost 1% of what comes out of the Strait of Hormuz comes to America, we're still affected by it because it's a world market. So we have to understand that. So now that world market, we can recognize that it's skewed because China, one of the largest purchasers of oil, is buying off market, so it fluctuates with it and helping to support a regime whose only job is to try to do terror there. So having it also be in the dollar, the BRICS nations were trying for quite a while to do all that. That's why Venezuela also is a part of this.
Let me stop you a minute. Why did Trump's campaign always talk about America first and America this and America that? Now we are engaged in regime change, removing a nuclear weapon. That's what people are upset about. They don't care about the Strait of Malacca or the Strait of Dubaka or the Strait of Kabaka.
So if they don't care,
they care about how much it costs to pay for gas to go to Nashville. That's
so short-sighted, about. If America could go to World War II and fight Nazis and do it, we can afford 48 cents or 72 cents higher for gas for a few months. Okay, we got to give up something to get something. We're such lazy. You're so short-sighted. Oh, gas went up for a month. We got to give something to get rid of nuclear weapons. It can't blow up New York City.
Don't talk to me. I don't travel every day. Talk to those people that's got gas every day, Ron. Talk to those people.
Yeah, we can do that.
Tell them they're not spending the money that they're spending, and they can't take care of their families because gas is costing so much.
You didn't say that when it went above $5 under Biden. You were kind of cool with that when 9% inflation. You were
like,
okay
that
with
happens.
that.
So fellas, we got a message from a listener, and I hate to change gears here, but while we have her on the show, I have to ask this question because I just got this from a listener. And Debbie, I hate to put you on the spot here,
sure,
but I think this is something you'd probably want to address. It says, I'd like to know, did Debbie Matthews lose favor with some Republicans in Tennessee by calling them the low T GOP? Is that why she was blackballed from running for office? I heard Matt Murphy talking about it the other day.
I'm sure. You know that the SEC, last SEC meeting, they brought up that they are going to now by law say that you as a Republican cannot say the word rhino. You can't say other things, anything derogatory about the party. So yeah, when I said low TGOP because they can't get anything done, hence the SAVE Act or whatever, probably. Because and I'm talking about it on a national level.
And so now they're threatening to control speech.
Yes, that's going to be a part of the
Clayton-
They've always controlled.
Clayton,
speech, both
Jason
parties.
read the bylaws that said any disparaging remarks about the party, you could be taken off the ballot
That's
and
not
all
in,
that stuff.
That's not in the bylaws, and I can read you the
Well,
bylaws.
that's what he
for-
read on the
Well,
show.
that is something that they're trying to get passed at the SEC. Yeah, but it's not in the bylaws right now.
But Debbie, you also know based on the structure that whether or not it is based on the idea that it's a private club, it doesn't. I understand what you're saying, and you're completely correct. But it also doesn't legally, at the end of the day, matter, and that's a huge part of the structure at its foundation.
So at the thing at the end though, this is where it starts. So you start charging fees for people to get on the ballot. Now the GOP is charging people to speak at Reagan Days. Did you know that? If you're a candidate, you have to pay to be able to speak at a Reagan Day. So that eliminates more candidates. Now, if you can get rid of the conservative wing of the GOP and get them off the ballots because you're curating a certain way, then that dissent goes away. Okay? This is where we are.
I just don't understand. I don't understand, based on their rules, how they expect to ever get any young people involved.
Well, I feel like, again, this is where we miss all of it. It's a monopoly of two private clubs who are legally, from a Supreme Court standard, treated as private clubs. So
Yeah.
what is happening to Debbie, or what would if the same thing happened on the Democratic side, while everybody on each side could complain and say it's unfair or it's not okay or
Hey.
it's screw with democracy, there's been Supreme Court cases that allow them to basically say we're a private club, we get to decide who represents us.
But what they're about to do
whether or
is
not,
what they're about to do, though, Jeb, is there is going to be an American First Party that breaks out of this. I mean, the GOP is fractured. Six
fine,
counties have split.
then they'll fall into the same
Yes.
category of a private club who gets to decide who represents
maybe
it
they
based on
will.
the
I
Supreme
don't know.
Court
Well,
But
if the GOP
I
guy
know the
with different views than you
the
want in your
GOP
club,
would have
just say
gotten
no.
the GOP would have gotten a Trump out if they could have in 2016. He called them everything but a Christian, okay? When he was running in a primary. He said this is corrupt, this is the rhinos, blah, 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 all of this stuff, okay? So they would have gotten rid of Trump if they could have, but he was so popular that they couldn't. Okay, but you're going to start seeing that the popular candidates are going to be taken off the ballots because they don't want popular. They want the flip side of the same coin, which is
you.
anyway.
I hope that you're hearing what I'm saying. In that, yes, I think everything that you're talking about, I mean, happened with Bernie Sanders and versus Hillary Clinton, and that
Exactly.
put thumbs on the scales and things like that. But
And
the idea
RFK,
is,
yeah.
we can all talk about it and say that it's wrong, but legally, it has been pushed in front of the Supreme Court. There's nothing that can be done. They can decide who represents them. It doesn't. It's not
Exactly.
fair, and it's not
Exactly.
okay.
And
However,
that's okay. I'll just take my position as
we're
a
talking
journalist.
about the wrong thing to fix the problem.
Well, the listener who messaged back said, "Let Debbie know that I'm not bashing her, but I do agree with her. Some GOP have all bark with no bite, and it's just like they're talking about the feds are going to reschedule marijuana. And I saw a headline today where the House or the state." Republicans are now, there's a trigger law that's supposed to go into effect, but now they're trying to change that. A state senator put up a bill to try to give women the death penalty if they got abortions. I mean, that's just insanity.
Yeah.
That's utter insanity.
But Clayton, to your point about young people, they're going to get young people involved because they're going to
No.
automatically register them for the draft starting in December.
Well, let me say this. I go back to one reason I wanted to run for the SEC is you voted for delegates for Trump in Tennessee. And those delegates paid their fee to get on the ballot. They got their signatures. They ran an election, a whole campaign, and they won over DeSantis and the other Nikki Haley, whoever was on the ballot at the time. They won their actual seat, and they were all young Republicans. The Republican SEC section of the GOP got rid of most of those delegates and then replaced them with SEC members who had been DeSantis delegates or Nikki Haley delegates. That is how corrupt this has gotten with the SEC and the GOP in the state of Tennessee. Okay? Those kids were the young future of the Republican Party, and the old fat guys in their hats went to Michigan or wherever the conference was and put on a cowboy hat and held a drink in their hand thinking they were the cool new thing. But they weren't. They kicked the young
Them
ones
young
off the
guys
ballot.
don't want to get
They
drafted either,
They
Debbie.
kicked the kids off the ballot after they had won an election. They were officially on a ballot and they got rid of them. So they
We're having
can
the
fill
wrong
the
fight.
seats.
Yeah, because they can, and that's the problem. There's
Well,
nothing
then
that can
let's
be done about that
fix
they
it.
can. We all agree
let's
that
fix
they
it.
can.
Let's fix it.
Yelling about how it's working, knowing that there's unless you want to
Tomorrow,
push it forward in a
folks.
Supreme Court case under different circumstances. It's a sad situation that most people don't recognize
Right.
is how it works.
Right.
That it's a private club. They get to decide who
But
represents them.
somebody
If it was-
should have been mad for these kids, and it went unnoticed.
They should
and
be,
went-
but
right.
the problem isn't with what happened. It's still legal.
Just gonna be in the military if they're 18 years old. They're gonna get drafted.
Have
Have a great day, folks.
I actually coined the phrase low T GOP. I really should.
That's fantastic.